Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Better Call Saul, Season 4, Episode 9. We're on 9? Jesus Christ. Oh,
Yeah, no.
we're almost done. Do you know what it is? It's because I'm not paying attention when I click on it anymore. I'm just, next
You
episode
just
on.
click. Yeah, just go. Yeah.
So yeah, this is called Wiedersehen.
Wiedersehen, surely, because Auf Wiedersehen.
Oh, sure, yeah. That makes more sense. Anyway, so... Better Call Saul. So we open this episode with Kim hobbling along with crutches, and first I thought I'd missed an episode for a second. I was like, "What's going on? Was she in an accident again?"
I panicked because I was like, "Oh God, please let this be a flashback. Please don't let this be the scam."
Yeah, and it was when she got up to the counter, as she was getting up to the counter. So it wasn't like long. It was like it was like 5 seconds of thinking about it, and then I went, "Oh, wait a minute."
Yeah, I was immediately just like, oh God, please let this be a flashback to another time like we've been doing this season. Don't let this be the scam, please. Don't let her be caught here.
Yeah, no.
And then she says Mesa Verde. I'm like, damn it, that place is it now.
Yeah. She's not caught, of course, but we have. Can you remember this actress? The actress's name, but the character from Leftovers that this actress played that works in this zoning committee. Or
no,
committee,
I know exactly who she is, but
yes.
No.
Because the episode, there was a big episode in season 1 at Leftovers that was actually named her Gladys. I think it was Gladys.
There you go.
That sounds right. But she's there, and it's this sob story about how I'm a single mother now and 8 months old, and my boss would kill me if I got these wrong. And do you know what I like about this plan? Is it like a lot of the plans in this show? There's a point where it clicks and you get exactly what the plan is. And she's like, "Oh, can I just check and see this matches up the one that's it's not an old copy, right?" And everything matches. And I'm like, "Okay, so what's going to happen? It's going to let her switch it. She's going to switch it because now she believes she's already checked it and it matches. So something's going to happen now."
It. Exactly.
And then in comes Saul, and with blumbering around like an idiot, and leaking stuff
And then
all
there's
over.
like the kid in the car.
Yeah, it was just get some sympathy out of her, and then she'll say, "Oh, they're the exact same. No one will know the difference." And that's the
Yeah, because he puts down the milk that leaks all over them. And I think it's important that it's her idea. It comes from the desk clerk being like, "Hey, why don't we just swap them? It's fine. I've checked them."
Oh yeah, it's Inception rules. If you believe it was your idea, then you won't question it because it was your idea.
Exactly.
That's the trick of the best cons, is you think it's your idea. But which fair enough. I watched the movie today which the big ending was basically someone tricking someone into having an idea, so they would take the cup of the poison.
Thrilling.
It's a whole thing. I don't know. It was just funny. We're talking about it. It happened in that movie. Anyway, I won't say what the movie is because it'll spoil the ending. But
it was a good movie.
It was alright. It was good. It was good. It wasn't great. Worth it for the performance, I'd say. But we cut to them. They're driving back and they're at a diner and they're getting food, and she's all thrilled, and they're connected in a way here that we've not seen in a little bit, right? They're really bonding.
Was I the only one that was a little bit nervous in this scene? Like the woman was going to finish her shift and come into the diner and see her just there.
Oh, not in this scene, no. I was nervous as shit in a later scene, which we'll get to, but
I was nervous here as well. Like just the whole time, just waiting for Kim to be caught, I guess.
Nah, I don't know. I never felt like this was the time she was going to get caught. If she is going to get caught, it never clicked for me in this scene. But then the only thing that drops the mood a little bit is when he says, "Hey, we could earn a lot of money, helping people, our combined forces, our smarts together." And he's going for the shared office. He's going for the law firm, essentially. Let's create a new law firm, a partnership. And Chena immediately indicates that she shoots them down. And
only use their powers for good.
And he's got a fair point though when he hits back with, "Well, what exactly is the for good here? Are you helping Mesa Verde out to get a bonus here? What was the good in this one?" But he's like, "Okay, fine," and he kind of agrees to it. And what I really like, so obviously from here, their plot is essentially that he's going to his big hearing to get his law
license.
Thank you. I was like, what's the word? His law license back. He's at this hearing and he's going there, and I was dead sweet because he cuts to Kim after this, obviously after he already fails, and she's got him a new briefcase, and she's got him the mug, and she's writing on it second best lawyer again.
No, it was best lawyer but it was just she paints on the again. Yeah.
And second.
Oh, was it the second as well? I missed it.
She wrote a
You sure?
second before. It was the world's
Oh,
second best
okay.
lawyer again.
Yeah, yeah,
So the joke
yeah,
being that she's the best, clearly.
yeah, yeah.
I thought that was cute. But
Was it a mug that you had before, or was it? I can't remember. Or is she just bought that new?
I think that's new. He just had a travel mug before, if I remember right.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering if it would have been funnier if it had been a mug from before.
But so that's all really sweet, and we see him get into this hearing, and we often praise this show for it being so well written and so well acted that we know exactly what's inside the characters' heads, and we know where things are going, not because they're predictable in a bad sense, but because things are so well set up and so well thought out that we are in the room understanding the feeling and the tone. You know, it's kind of like, you know, feel the room, buddy, right? I feel like in Saul we can always feel the room, and that's really impressive. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because when he gets to this hearing and he's nailing it. He's they're asking him, like, have you been keeping up with the changes in the law, and and things have changed. Oh, I've been keeping up with the bar journal, and he starts casually small talking
Going on about this Supreme Court case that will be really this is really easy when you're a period piece, because you can just quote an example from a decade ago, or whenever.
But he's nailing it. He's nailing it completely. And there's the one woman who's not completely convinced. She wants to ask one extra question, and she says, "What does the law mean to you?" And this takes him aback a little bit, because he's done a really good job up until this point of being really humble, in the sense that he's like, no, there's no excuse for what he did, and he's like really honest about where he got his law degree, and he's like, I wish this was all these other places, but like, this is who I am. But when I actually started helping clients, and I felt, I had a purpose, it was the best I've ever felt, and I've missed that this past year, and it felt as honest as he could be without in any way incriminating himself in any way possible, which obviously Saul has a skill for. But then she asks, "What does the law mean to you?" And he starts answering the question, and he's doing pretty well, but something feels not quite right, and it keeps lingering. It feels like they're waiting for something, and the entire time I'm sitting going, "This is kind of weird. He's not mentioned Chuck at all yet."
Do you know the moment that I'm like, that was the they were giving him one last chance to mention Chuck? Is the question? I think it's a follow up to this. What does the law mean to you? Maybe. They say, okay, any specific inspirations?
Yeah, that was
for
the
you
line,
when why you became a lawyer. I'm like, Chuck, this is them giving you that last chance to mention it.
And what I love about it is that this is not one we have to sit on for very long, because when he gets angry, he runs after the guy. He's like, we felt you were insincere, right? That's the ultimate thing. And he throws his briefcase against the wall. The poor guy walking down the stairs is terrified, and he's just kind of.
I half expected him to turn around. Because you see him like stop and wait and think about it, and then he goes down anyway.
Hey, if he's got somewhere important to be, he's got to do it. But
yeah. But you can see him going, is there another set of stairs easily for me to get to?
But he phones Kim, and Kim, she's juggling the job because she's on like a conference call on the phone. She's kind of like jumping in and out as she's like making the presents, and then she gets a call from Jimmy, and everything drops. And she goes up to the top of the car park, and he comes in, and he's livid, and he's angry, and he's shouting, and he's explaining what happened. And she actually asks him at one point, "Well, what did you say about Chuck?" It's like, "What about Chuck? What was he got to do with it?" And that moment right there, she gets it. She gets why they thought something was wrong, and he doesn't understand. And do you know what I love about this? And what I loved about the moment in the hearing itself, when I realized what they were looking for was Chuck, is the idea that this entire season, Chuck's presence has been very important, despite the fact that he's been gone and dead, and despite the fact that even at this point, I'd say it's maybe been because I think the first half of the season there was a lot of like her wanting him to go and get therapy about Chuck's death,
because it was fresh,
yeah. But time's moved on. It almost felt like we'd kind of almost forgotten about it to an extent, and then there's a moment where it hits you in that hearing where it's like, this is about Chuck. Chuck's presence is still an issue here. And when he can't see that, when Kim kind of hints at it and he doesn't get it, it comes all flooding back that he's still not dealt with this. And then he outright says, "I don't care that Chuck's gone. I don't care that he's dead. He was alive, now he's dead. I don't care. It's fine." Yeah, I'm like, that sounds healthy. Sounds super healthy there, Jimmy.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really impressive. And of course, this is them getting into a big proper fight where they air their every grievance they've been kind of holding in, and everything we've been talking about for the last season. Where he's been feeling inadequate, jokes about our hoity-toity lawyer life and our bosses, and And she brings up some very, very good points, some very compelling points, none of which I can disagree with. One, he for some reason hinges her commitment to him on this one thing, which is the law firm, right? The partnership. He for some reason sees that as the one true sign that they're actually together and making it. When, as she points out, they live together, they sleep together. She drops everything at any point to come and help him, and she has done even before they were a couple. Like, way back in their friendship, she'd always be there for him on his side, and we've seen that. And I think that's what makes this like, not sting the most, because it's not. I don't know if it's a sting in this scene specifically, but what makes this ring true the most is that we've seen that even when he's not there. We saw that with Howard earlier this season, where she stuck up for him. She got angry and stuck up for Saul, and so it plays so true. And then everything else, everything felt so truthful about what she was saying to him, and he just doesn't see
the
it.
ending moment's the best, isn't it?
Oh, go on.
Well, she goes on that whole spiel there that you just went through, and he goes, "Oh, way to kick a man when he's down," and she just goes, "Yeah, but you're always down," and that's it. It just silence from there.
So, it's funny. Like, the last couple of episodes, I've been so terrified that he's going to ruin Kim's career, and he still might. But this kind of swerved it in a way where she's a bit more self-aware than maybe I was giving her credit for.
Yeah,
just a bit. Because that felt like a very honest moment where you're all you put yourself in these situations all the time.
Yeah, he does.
And it ends in this really. But I actually thought the episode was ending, because this episode was a little bit longer actually than normal, and I thought it was ending here because they're standing there and he drives off and she's left standing, or he's left there standing.
You thought that was the final shot. Yeah.
And I thought it was this big aerial shot. I thought this is the final shot. And then it kept going, and there was more, of course, and we ended in another moment later on. But there was even more with them, where he's coming in and he's packing his bags, and I'm like, what? Would it break up? I mean, I know it was a bad fight, guys, but you've got all your grievances out in the open. Talk to each other about this. And Kim is just sitting there quietly drinking, and she kind of slowly comes over, and there's a lot of great shots in here. There's a lot of reflection play in this scene. Before she comes in, there's a reflection from the tall mirror, and then when she comes in, they're actually standing in front of the bathroom mirror.
Most of the shot takes place looking into the mirror,
which I think makes a lot of sense. Like we just said, their entire fight was bringing up everything that their relationship's been going through over the season. So it's a bit cheesy to say it this way, but yeah, it's very reflective in terms of what we're doing right now. We're reflecting on everything they've went through together.
I mean, this show has never been. I mean, there have been subtleties. Don't get me wrong. But it's never been afraid to be blatant with its symbolism. Like, I'm thinking back to season 1 with the cup, the different shaped cup in the cup holder to the car. It's always been, okay, we're gonna do the obvious ones as well. It's never been afraid of that. So this is in keeping with the show's style.
I think why it works, even when it's doing the obvious stuff, is that it really commits to it. It never feels like it's false to what it's doing. It never feels like, because I feel like the reason why it rings false in a lot of lesser produced work, when we go, oh, that's a really blatant bit of symbolism that just feels out of place. I think when that happens, it's because, the symbolism itself is actually fine. The problem is that the story underneath it isn't that good, and therefore, or it doesn't feel like it quite links up to what the symbolism is doing. It felt like a creator who didn't know what they were doing, and they thought, oh, I'll put in a bit of symbolism, and they think that'll prop it up, but instead it just actually points out the flaw because it feels like it's tacked on. Whereas Saul always feels like, no, we're earning what we're doing here. And she just asks him a simple question: do you still want to be a lawyer? Because keep in mind, he has to wait another year. This is an important point here. He has to wait another whole year before he can have another hearing.
Well, I mean, unless
the
hearing, he appeals.
Unless the appeal, she mentioned the appeal, which may happen. But I mean, we don't really know. It could be another year for all we know.
Yeah, but I sense an appeal scam coming on.
I could see it. But he says yeah, and she just says, let's start with that. And it does kind of feel like, despite the fact that that's very specific, that does feel like it's about their entire relationship. That question response feels like it's about their entire relationship, not just the fact that they're going to try and get him his law degree back, or he's not his degree, his license. So it's funny, this show, every time it puts us in the worst possible place with Kim and Saul, it then brings us back. It's very good at teetering us on the edge back and forth, and every time it pushes further and it still manages to pull it back somehow, because that fight felt very serious, and then it felt like, oh no, maybe they can't, because let's be honest here, this fight, as much as bad as it is and it is as angry as they get, it felt like a very genuine couple fight where it was like, no, we've got all these problems that have been kind of, bubbling away over a while, and now they're all out in the open. This is the kind of fight that it can break a relationship, but it can also actually strengthen it, potentially, if they actually address all these issues and they understand each other better. It's been so well established what all these faults with each other are, especially with Saul, that
mainly with Saul.
Yeah. If he addresses them, and I'm not necessarily saying that I'm hopeful that he will, because again, this is a tragedy. So yeah, oddly, I'm in kind of a weird place of hope, at least for the meantime. Like, I don't think this obviously again is going to last, but it doesn't feel like, okay, they're just done now, and we're going into the next season with them apart.
That's what makes the tragedy so effective. That even though we know it has to end, for some reason we still hope.
There's always hope. But yeah, no, that fight was fantastic. Everything she said. And even if everything he said, I mean, he wasn't justified, because all of his stuff came from this place of envy, and it came from a bad place, but it felt true in the sense that we've been seeing that he's been feeling that way. It's just been there the whole time, and everything she said again was all true, but it also was like, yeah, again, it's all been there the entire time. It was finally being honest with them, in a very blatant and blunt way that he probably needs, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes. But yeah, so that was Saul and Kim's side of things, and of course we had some other stuff. Of course, bit of Nacho with Lalo. What I say,
Lalo. Yeah.
Yeah. So Lalo, he's an interesting character, because I said last time that obviously we know that Saul eventually will know who he is and be afraid of him, and I thought what I liked about the actor's performance in this episode is he was doing this last episode, but I thought we got a better showcase of it here. How he kind of switches to his very nice guy persona, whilst being very intimidating.
Yeah, I think I mentioned last week. Obviously his introduction was cooking.
Yeah.
In the kitchen, which reminiscent of Gus, right? I think he plays very similarly in that he has that very public persona of being very friendly, in a similar way. But there's that undercurrent of menace that can come in at any moment.
I would say that separating from Gusto, there's just a slight more, I guess, aggressive. I'd say it's an aggressive nicety. Whereas Gus is a lot more understated. Whereas here, I feel like he's almost trying too hard to be nice, to give that to have that persona.
Yeah, definitely.
There was a moment actually, because they go to Los Polos and he wants to speak to Gus, and that scene is basically, oh yeah, everything's nice. This is the best it's ever been between the two families, but the entire time there's just this.
Just waiting for it, yeah.
You're waiting for the why is he really here, and I never quite get there, but you get that this is kind of a show of force. It's a show of all these different things.
It's an introduction. It's like, hey, we're back here. I know we've not been all around lately with what's been happening, but we're here and we're paying attention.
And he even brings up the big Don, and he's like, hey, maybe he likes that we don't like each other very much, and maybe that would be bad for him. And then it's almost like just to see what Gus will say to that. And then when Gus kind of indicates, no, I like things the way they are, it's almost like a test to see if he does want to actually try and overthrow him or change the system or whatever. And obviously Gus isn't very happy when he leaves. We get that patented Gus, the fake smile goes away, and the serious Gus.
It's such a Gus thing, isn't it? It just, because he barely moves his face. Because, like you say, he's very understated nicety. So his smile is quite subtle. It's definitely a smile, but it's not much. And so it just takes a little twitch of the lips, and then he's in that angry stare.
I like that the employee recognised Nacho from last year, because that was a big scene last year when they came to the
understandable why those people would be pretty vivid in his memory.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, my other favourite little moment is when Gus comes out to sit at the table where they're sitting, and there's the fake conversation about the food and what he franchised so that he can get him into the office. It's after Lalo leaves, Gus just looks at Nacho, who of course is undercover for him, and he's like, I don't know, I don't know why he's here. Look at me.
Yeah.
Because that was the other moment where I was really getting his switching thing, is because he's asking Nacho on the way out at the car. He's asking Nacho questions like, oh, hey, where do you so you get 6 kilos a week, so where do you get them? He's like, oh, he's got a chicken farm just outside of town. He's like, oh, take me. And he goes to this really nice guy. The way he says it, like, oh, they'll take me. He switches like that. Of course, we've glossed over the scene where they go to visit Hector, and he gets his bell. We get the big bell scene.
The iconic bell.
Yeah. You know what? I'll critique this scene a little bit.
It's maybe the first time I've really felt the show's prequelness.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly where I was going with this. Where I don't feel like we needed a scene where he got the iconic bell.
Well, no. Getting the bell is fine. I don't think it needed such a big story.
Okay, fair. Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, what I mean is they make a big deal out of it. Like, oh, you're getting the bell. But it's this story of how Hector burned this hotel down or whatever, and Layla went back in and got a souvenir, and it was the bell from the burning building, and that's the bell that he's got in his chair.
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, just a bell under his finger would have been fine. It would have made sense, right? Hey, sometimes we might miss his finger just tapping down, but we're not going to miss a bell dinging.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why it's practical. Honestly, like, it's a minor complaint. I know it's a big deal, but it's just as he was telling this story, I felt like, okay, you don't need this. This feels like you're just trying to make this feel more important than it actually is, and that's okay. So sometimes the simpler thing or the more effective thing is when you keep it simple. As when you keep
I thought just the camera work. When he puts the bell on and his finger hovers above it before he ding, and it just lingers there before he dings it for the first time. That on its own would have been enough.
Well directed, absolutely well directed. Also the old lady hiding her purse from Nacho.
And them all just being annoyed at the bell.
Yeah, all the old people just really upset that there's this bell now in the room, and Hector won't shut.
I feel like that's pretty inconsiderate, to be honest. I mean, this is a man who can only communicate. I mean, forget everything you know about him. This is a man that can only communicate with tapping his finger. You'd think, okay, yeah, we'll accommodate the fact that a bell is going to make that easier.
I agree with that, but to be fair to everyone else in the room, when he first starts tapping the bell, he does tap it like 10 times in a row. Repeatedly.
He's pretty excited. He's like, hey, I can communicate things. I can request help. I'm just gonna say, like, if that was me, I'd be pretty excited that I could do that.
I want another prequel now where Gus tries to convince some of the old people in the old folks' home to try and assassinate Hector because they're annoyed at the bell and they're game for it. Yeah, we'll assassinate him for you, Gus.
Yeah, that damn bell.
He won't be saved by that bell. He'll be killed by that bell. That was great, and you know it. So we have that scene. So yeah, I mean, it was to give this showcase of Lalo, showing him with Hector, showing him with Gus, and how he's going to interact with these people. But clearly, he's investigating the entire procedure. How does the partnership work between these two families? You kind of get the impression he might want to try and cut out Gus and their side of things eventually. That's why he's so interested in all this. Maybe he's trying to case what all the steps are, so to figure out how to deconstruct it.
Could be. I think it's interesting because, he's testing Gus. We're going, hey, what if we cut out Eladio? And it's like, yeah, but that's where your supply comes from.
Mm-hmm.
They have nothing else lined up. So what would be the plan? And then, immediately he's then to now just like, hey, let's go look into this. Presenting that they could cut out Gus, which is much more feasible because that's just, transportation.
Yeah. Although the funny thing though is we know Gus should try to make his own. That we know that's ultimately where he's heading. But yeah, obviously he doesn't know that.
They don't know
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, speaking of that side of things, Mike and Werner, finally learned his name. So they're doing the black. This is the most tense I've been in a while in one of these scenes. And credit to where credit's due. It's not like Werner's like a huge character in terms of like the characters we really care about, right? But they're setting up the blast, and they've got like the truck ready to go to try and mask something. Because obviously it won't be like super audible compared to if the building up top exploded, that'd be like super loud. But it's underground, so it's kind of muffled anyway. Then you have the loud truck driving by, just enough to, mask it enough for anyone nearby. And they've got their holes drilled, and they get up, and they've got the detonators, and they're ready to go. And something's wrong. It's like, there's one of the wires. There's not a connection. So there's something wrong with the wire somewhere. It's no, I'll go and get it. And we get this long, almost horror movie-esque scene of Werner getting back into the basement through the construction area, going up to the rock, checking the wires as he's going, and there was one shot in particular that I loved. After he finds the cut in the wire and he puts it back together, he sits down and he looks up and he's got a light on his hat and he's got a light so he's holding in his mouth, and there's just these two beams of light, and you can't even see his face because of the way the light's just kind of obscuring it. really good, especially when he starts shaking and the music gets kind of tense, and I wasn't even sure what was happening. It became clear after a bit he was having a panic attack, but it was like, what's going on here at first?
Yeah, because you have the moment before he goes into the hole, where he kind of just leans against the pillar, and he's like, "Okay, pull yourself together," and you say his hands shaking, and then afterwards, when he does it, he fixes the wire. He just collapses on the floor basically to compose himself, being like, "Okay, I can't go. I'm not ready to go back out there and show myself like this."
Yeah, but then when he does go back out, we just have this harsh cut to him with his smile on his face, and it's all fixed. People, try again. Of course, Mike does notice though his hand's shaking a little bit behind his back, and Mike's very aware of it. And of course, he asks him about it. He doesn't bring it up specifically the actual hand, but he's like, "What's on your mind? There's something bothering you. Let's talk about it." And he talks about how he's missing his wife. He's never been away from her this long. We knew that before, of course. And how he's like, "Hey, is it possible that I could see her? Can I fly back for a weekend? Let one of the guys be in charge for a few days with some detailed instructions. They know what they're doing."
Yeah, I don't think it helped that he suggested Kai.
No, do I. I think Mike. I'm surprised Kai's still around, to be honest. I thought they might have shipped him back after the last episode. But
yeah,
here we are. And he's like, "Hey, we'll give you an extra phone call tomorrow." And he's like, "Okay, yeah." And we find out that he's been on for 90 minutes. Actually, do you know what I liked about this? Because obviously it's been going on for a while. I love how friendly Mike is with the other guys that he's hired to keep surveillance and all that. Because he brings them coffee. They're all friendly. I don't know. It's quite a cushy little
routine
job. Yeah, nice little routine they've got going there. So okay, and there's a moment after the phone call where he's looking at the cameras, and I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was. And admittedly, I don't know why I thought this, because obviously he wants to see his wife again. But I thought he was suicidal. I
did too. No, I got that as well. It was because we got some of the stuff the night before with him kind of just being alone.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt that way to me as well. Even throughout most of this scene, I was like, did he kill himself?
Yeah, no, because
until the end.
Because when Mike comes on the truck with the surveillance screens, the monitors, and he's like, "Hey, what's that?" And it's a dead pixels. He's like, "Oh, they weren't there before though." And he's like, "Oh yeah, there was like a voltage spike." And I went, "Voltage? He's offed himself." I thought he'd electrocute himself in the bath or something. I don't know, and that's what caused the spike. Yeah. And so he starts looking around, and he goes in, and there's actually a little bit of time when you don't even see the little Germans for a while. And I thought, did they all leave?
They're all asleep still, I think.
Yeah, that's what it is. They're all in bed because they work at night. But he starts looking around, and he notices the cameras, and they follow. It's like, okay, what cameras have got the dead pixels? Because there's multiple cameras, and they're checking through them. Yeah. It's like a path almost, and it goes up to the storeroom where all their food is, and then it goes up to the roof, and then
and even now I was like, oh god, did he throw himself off the roof?
Yeah, actually, do you know what my favourite shot of this all is? It was when the other guy's on the roof and Mike's on the ground, and it's a shot, and they're both in frame. And you can see the guy on the roof and Mike's on the bottom, and you can so it's like the top of the frame is just like this one bit of sky with the guy walking along, Mike's along the bottom. It's just a really nice shot with a nice sense of verticality to it.
Yeah.
But he finds this device, this laser pointer, and he's like, and he points it at the camera, and we see the camera's view here, and we see that that's what's done this to the cameras. He's pointed the laser pointer at it, and it makes the camera fizzle and get a spike, and that's what made the dead pixels. And that's actually what we end on. We end on that this guy's ran, and he's damn full because now Gus is going to kill him. This is it.
Yeah,
you're screwed. Sorry, Werner.
He's not getting away, is he?
No way, not a chance.
Yeah, I'm like, oh god, I wish he had just killed himself. Because Gus ain't gonna be nice about it.
Honestly, I think he may have got all of his teammates killed as well. Because if he disappears and doesn't show up anymore, they're all going to be asking questions, and I feel like this might mean he has to kill all of them too. I
don't know. I think they're still going to try and avoid that if they can. Because let's not forget, all right, getting rid of one dead guy, sure. But if you got 8 to get rid of, 8 Germans to get rid of, it may be more noticeable that, okay, these all flew in, they didn't come back, they vanished.
I wonder how much they covered the tracks though of where they were going, what airport did they go to. Because they're being so secretive about where they are right now.
No, it's true. We obviously they flew in presumably perfectly legitimately.
You would think,
I'd have thought.
But beyond knowing they were going to the US, their family members, would they know anything else? And then on top of that, okay, so they came to this airport, but they came to this airport 10 months ago. Like, as far as
They
the
did,
authorities
they
are
did.
concerned, they have been missing for a long ass time.
Well, no, not necessarily, because let's say they were meant to come in. They were working for 8 months anyway.
Oh,
Let's say
sure,
they
okay,
came in on a
yeah.
work visa for
And I
two
suppose, yeah,
years.
if they've been on the phone to family members and stuff the whole time, then they're not.
The family members aren't going to report anything
Yeah,
yet.
okay, so they won't be missing until they actually die. But at that point, it's like they don't know they were phoning from the same place they landed in. Like it's been 10 months.
No.
They could have been anywhere.
The family members don't know where they are. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Not exactly.
No, but I'm saying if the
it-
authorities say, okay, they landed at this airport and they've been on the phone for 10
Yeah.
months, there's no reason to say that they're still in the same state, the same city, whatever.
No,
as the
no,
airport.
there's not. I mean, it comes back to the R&R, which is the only time they've been seen out in public.
Yep,
Could come back to bite them on the ass for that.
it could be. Yep, someone goes question about a bunch of German dudes, and all of a sudden this strip club is like, yeah, now you mentioned it, there was 8 German dudes in here that one night.
Right, exactly, and they were memorable enough.
Yeah, because they had that whole kerfuffle, so I mean, that'll stick out in memory.
Yeah.
So, and the guy at the bar was talking to Werner for a little bit. I mean, one German dude's harder to feel as weird as for being there, but
yeah, but a group, and that's why I think it's easier for them to just ship them back. Go like, hey, just go. Here's your money. Forget it happened. If they can get away with it.
And I'm not. I'm not sure they can. I'm not sure they can. So yeah, I'm kind of expecting a death sentence here. What I will say about this, because this is arguably because Jimmy's stuff is really one big scene, right? All in the opening, it's like one big extended scene. This kind of get the most. This was essentially the A plot of the episode. And despite the fact that we don't necessarily care about Werner as much as a lot of the other characters, of course, because he's this new character who's just part of this season, and you can kind of get a sense of it's going one way or the other, even though we thought he might be suicidal. I will say all of the scenes were so well directed that I was engaged the entire time. I was never like, oh, why are we spending so much time in this? Why are we doing this?
No, of course not.
Or whatever.
Like even there's that moment where the night before he looks up at the camera. And you go, oh shit, he's got a plan.
Yeah, he's thinking of something. Whatever he's going to do, he's about to do something.
It's like a 3 or 4 second shot, and that's all it is. And you go, damn, he's doing something tonight.
Yeah, like I say, that scene where he was fixing the wire, he's
very tense.
Very tense because I was generally thinking, is it because they had this all rigged to blow up and then it didn't, and obviously they're not pressing the button while he's down there. But I'm just what if I don't know? What if there's a false detonation in one of them? Because there's 3 bombs in the thing in the rock.
Yeah, and it's still volatile substances. I imagine, especially when he's taking it out of the hole. He's being very careful. Like, okay, no, don't touch the edges. It's like that sort of rule, right?
Yeah.
Like Operation almost.
You just compared demolitions experts
yeah.
to people who play Operation.
Hell yeah.
That's what they do at the academy.
That's it. Hey. I would not be surprised if they trained on that for steady hands. Or, like in a similar game, the one where it's like a little metal hook and you got to get it around the wavy thing. And if you touch it, it buzzes. I mean, those things, I imagine they actually use those to make sure you got, steady hands.
Oh, those ones, sure, I can see that. That feels...
And Operation's the same.
I don't think you could take it seriously while you're doing it. I think there's a problem.
That's fair.
I think you do the wire one where you're going around with a little hoop.
Yeah.
But you give it consequences. You give them a little shock if they touch it. You hook them up to it, and they get a little jolt.
I think with Operation, if they catch it, you just give them a smack on the back of the head.
Yeah, but then you need to pay someone to smack them in the back of the head. That's more manpower.
Why would you pay someone? Do it yourself. You get the satisfaction.
Wait, so in this now, you're the supervisor, you're the one training them, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sure.
You're the teacher.
Sure.
God.
You buzzed, smack.
Record explosions over the next 10 years, I'll tell you that right now, if you're the one training them. And all of them will look like your head, because you're ginger. Anyway, moving on. Moving on. But that was the episode. That was really solid.
Moving on to nothing.
Yes. But I mean, the minor quibble that the bell thing was a little bit in your face and a little bit too prequely. But that is the only... I mean, in 4 seasons, that is the only time I felt that. And that is impressive, actually. So, You know.
I think it was something I was worried about early on. You know, when we first started introducing a couple of Breaking Bad characters,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, is this just for like the cash in value of like, hey, here's people you recognize, and of course it developed way well beyond that, and that was never a concern.
Yeah.
Not really. It was just something that but when it first started, that was
And
maybe worried about.
And that's why it's not a big. I mean, as much as I'll complain about it being a bit too much, it's like it's one scene, and it's not. I'm not worried that it's going to do it every 2 scenes now, because the show's proven itself at this point. It's fine.
I'm fairly sure it's never going to mention this Bell story again, unless it's relevant to something that Lalo does.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, that is Saul. So we have the finale next week. We have the heartbreak. Where will Kim and Jimmy end up? And he points out as well that all the people who sold phones to know him as Saul Goodman. So we're definitely setting up.
I like that. She's like, we'll worry about that later.
Yeah. So fun stuff. So yeah, let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv, and you can do that over there. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?